Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. This is the video you guys wait for each week. It's our best bet segment. All three of us will give a best bet for this week, and we're going to start off with Bryan. You've got one. We're going to go to the NBA. You're going to give us Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe.
I'm giving you a play, and we don't even know who they're playing yet. That's how strong this play is at this point. They say if it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, we've talked about how rested teams at home do very well in the NBA playoffs. And at this point, you know, they opened up against Detroit, and then they played Atlanta. 7.5 is a home favorite against Atlanta. Right now, the teams are tied, Toronto and Miami. So we don't know who is going to be coming out of that. I'm assuming, to me, the teams are pretty even. I mean, I think we've seen that since we've seen this series play out. So I'm assuming the line's going to probably be 8, only because, obviously, I think they're a little bit better than Atlanta, but the situation with them having to go 6-7 games in this series. But those teams that are rested and at home, I mean, they got plenty of time to prepare. But the other teams are worried about what's going on now. We see this all the time. They're just excited to get past that last opponent, and they're not ready in game one. And just go with Cleveland.
Yeah, I tell you, looking at Toronto and Miami, this has been it's an exciting series to watch because all of the games have gone down to the wire and then gone into overtime. It got for one night, Monday night. If you had the two dogs on Monday night, I was, I commented on Twitter, and Bryan, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's actually a guy on the Strip in Vegas that you can literally, for $20, street guy, you can go up and kick him, in the cojones, put it politely. And if you had Toronto and Portland Monday night, I sent out a tweet. I said, if you want to spend $20, go find that guy. That'll make you feel better because both underdogs were virtual locks the entire game and go into overtime and lose on the last bucket of overtime to not cover. But there's some ugly basketball. They're close games, but the offenses, man, they struggle for every point in that Toronto-Miami series.
It's interesting compared to some of the other series that are out there. You take a look at the Golden State Portland. They're just making tremendous shots when Cleveland was playing in the last series. Just making tremendous shots. And you take a look at that series, and the interesting thing is, after both centers were out last time, everybody says, oh, you got to play the over. Got to play the over. There's nobody to defend. And they still couldn't even get over.
Yeah, well, they were 1 of 15, I believe, from three-point Miami. You're not.
Yeah, it's good in theory, but you still got to make the shots.
Yeah, but with the centers out, why aren't you trying to drive? Speed up the pace and drive the lane, kick it in, and then, kick it out for an open shot if it is contested. Right. But 1 of 15, you just can't do it. We're going to shift gears, go to Mark, and I'll say, what do you got for us?
I'm going to take a look at a National League West series. It involves a National League West team. Mm-hmm. The Rockies. I like the Rockies in the series versus the Mets. I think the Rockies at home. The Mets, they don't play at Colorado a lot, so it's kind of squirrely for them. But what I really like is the first night matchup, the Friday night matchup. Matt Harvey, who's been really surprisingly down this year, not very good. The Dark Knight has been his numbers are dark. And see,
there's one of those jokes we get on the Crunch Pod.
There you go. And then there's another one, John Gray, and it's John Gray the pitcher, not John Gray the guy who wrote Men Are for Mars, Women Are for Venus. Okay. So he's not reviving he's not going to baseball. But anyway, John Gray's been really good for the Rockies. He's been outstanding. In fact, he was the pitcher that we had an under on, and I think that was a game that was 0-0. Through 9, and nobody could score. So that was a great under. But we're high on John Gray, and Harvey's still kind of questionable. I was like, well, okay, is he what he is this year, or is he going to revert back to normal? So that the starting game on Friday night gives us a good edge, and I think we're going to get a lot of. It's hard to tell what the line's going to be, but based on history, we're going to get a really nice price.
You're going to get value because, as we talked about, the Mets are playing well. The Mets are a team that have a following, and Harvey's a name that you're paying the price for last year's Harvey that we might not necessarily have.
Yeah, Harvey's velocity is a little bit down this year, and he had that problem coming into the season. They didn't know what was going on with him, so I don't know if that has carried over at all. But yeah, Colorado's a team I don't like to play on the road very often, but if you play them at home, they can make us money.
And I'll throw a situational one in too. It doesn't hurt that the Mets are coming off a series with the Dodgers and now stepping down in class, maybe a little let down in that first game.
That's a Marcoism.
That's a
Yeah,
Marcoism.
exactly.
And I'll throw one of mine out, and this is another Marcoism for Friday night. Houston, and we probably should have talked about them when we were talking about teams that have been underachieving. This is a team that's been a mystery. Everybody had high expectations on this team this year, and the pitching's not been good, and that was their stellar point last year. But Friday night, they're getting back one of their pitchers, and I know, okay, the guy's been injured, so he's coming back. Why do you want to jump on him on that first start? I like to take a pitcher in the first start because what he's been doing is he's been doing nothing but trying to get back to the majors off of the injury. And a guy that's a prize, prospect like this guy, they're not going to put him out there if he's not 100%. You're not going to rush him. So I feel you're going to get big effort from him mentally, and he's going to be ready because they're bringing him up. And this is a situation the rest of the team, that could be the spark that they need. They're going against the guy I'm going to be facing on Stephen Wright, not the comedian. I hope, but I had to throw that one in there.
That was good. That was good.
But he does, throw the knuckleball that, looks pretty funny sometimes. But he's been successful. He's having a great year. But he's coming off a complete game win against the Yankees. So also, if you're Boston and you go a complete game, you beat the Yankees, I just don't see him at the same mental level for this start. And it will be the second time early in the season for two teams that are not in the same division for Houston to be facing him. So I'm going to go ahead and take Houston on. I think we're going to get a nice price because Boston's playing well right now and Houston's undervalued.
I believe you're talking about Lance McCullers?
Yes.
Yeah, Lance McCullers is a guy that really came up last year, and his poise was very good. His strikeout numbers were outstanding. You mentioned Houston struggling. Well, it's a young team. I mean, you can't put too much faith in a team that has success right off the bat. It's like the Cubs. Cubs are playing great now, and everybody thinks they're just a terrific team. Well, they may be, but if they start losing some games, keep in mind that's a very young team. So you're going to see some swings there.
All right. Great stuff, guys. Again, BaseWinner, thank you, Mark, for coming in. Hope to have you back
Pleasure
many
to be
more
here.
times.
Nice to see you guys, and
Yeah.
you guys are going to have to come out for spring training.
Well, I want to spring training. I want to come out and catch a game or two.
We'll go see the Tribe play. You can get Tribe tickets.
Yeah,
for
I missed the Pirates.
You can get Tribe tickets for cheap.
We missed the Pirates out there already, but we can swing out and maybe catch the Cavs.
I do want to
not the Cavs, the Indians.
I do want to point out that I'm a guy who gambles a lot for a living. That's how I make my living. I buy your service. It's tremendous. If people are out there, they want that kind of stuff, you do a great job. And I'm glad you were here to explain the jokes on your podcast because I didn't realize those were jokes.
All right, guys. Hey, and don't forget, $10 off this weekend. BaseWinner and the number 10. You'll get $10 off anything you put in your shopping cart this week. Use it one time over the weekend. Save $10. We'll be back next week with more here at WagerTalk.com. Good luck.